stage shootings, you know, Fast and Furious. I mean, I'm not trying to just whine here. It's, I use the term epic, over the top, legendary, awesomely evil. Reverend Childress was, you know, calling it just evil genius. I mean, it's, the thing is, they're moving on every front. They're trying to start war with Russians. They have U.S. troops battling Russians right now. That's hardly ever happened. Larry Nichols, I'm ranting here, and Jakari Jackson's here with us. But I don't think I can overstate how perilous a situation we're in. Talk about what their goals were back then, where they're going now, what Hillary's going to try to do, and how racial division seems to be so central. And then Jakari, jump in any time because he's going to join us again next week just on the Clintons themselves. But bringing this forward to where we are now to understand. Because am I wrong in saying they seem to be racing to finish things? Is that out of confidence or out of desperation?
No, out of confidence. They've got everything the way it was set up to be. The thing that I guess you've left out of what we've talked about is I have to live every day, Alex, with the fact that I helped write and in most cases wrote most of the plan that is now destroying our country. That's a pretty awesome thing to wear on you. And that's why I've been so dedicated to all these years, no matter the beatings, getting shot at, reporters being with me getting shot at. Yeah, you know what? You just keep going. This is going to be tough, Alex. These people play for keeps. If y'all hadn't figured it out by now, all Hillary's got to do to win this campaign is simple. Don't let anybody get in the race against her on the Democratic side. Boom, it's over. And you'll notice that Hillary is mean enough that when they go to Elizabeth Warren, I assume, or somebody else that might pose a serious challenge, they'll make an offer that they can't refuse. The mistake she made against Obama. She should have run Obama out of the race before he ever got in it and said, son, you're too young, you'll get your chance later, but you get in my way, I will destroy you and you'll never see the light of day. That's what should have been done. But Hillary has got one flaw that Bill Clinton doesn't have. She is obesely arrogant, hates me, and she just hates doing anything except the way she wanted it. But she's not making that mistake this time. All Hillary's got to do, y'all watch, just keep anybody credible from getting in on the Democratic side against her. And she wins the race. All she's got to do is the other thing that we learned and we used every day, Alex. How do you win an election? Number one, you control your opposition. Hillary and her power players are controlling the RNC, and they're making sure somebody like Jeb Bush on earth is going to be the nominee, somebody that cannot beat them. Somebody that cannot possibly activate the conservatives in this country and get them so excited they'll come out and vote.
The fix is in.
The fix is in. Yep. Now, not to mention, good heavens, folks, you have never even seen anybody that's rigged as many voting machines as I have. You've never seen anybody on your earth that has ever had as many dead people make contributions and vote as I have. This is coming for you. This is coming for this country. This is coming, Alex, for your children. That's why, by God, you got to fight. My grandbabies, that's why I got to do what I don't want to do. I'm 65 years old. I want to sit out in a pasture somewhere and say, hey, I've been to Nicaragua, every hellhole in the world. I'm done. I'm finished. But you're not going. Folks, I know maybe y'all think this is hyper-sensationalism, but you better listen to me. You're not going to have a country when this thing is done, and this thing is going to be in the next election. There won't be another election, Alex, although it'll happen. You know, hey, they got elections in Cuba, don't they? But they're not free. They're not fair. Either vote for who they say, or we'll kill you.
That's right. So many people who've lived in a quasi-free country, because nothing's perfect, cannot believe that they would actually go under tyranny. But the decision's been clearly made. Everything's racing towards that. And they're openly announcing, yeah, we're going to start shutting reporters down. Yeah, we're going to arrest you for your speech.
Yeah. Can you imagine 20 years ago telling a reporter that's been dedicated or put in the pool reporters that they can't attend an event by a presidential nominee? Are you kidding me? No. 20 years ago, Alex, could you believe somebody could run for president of the United States? And, oh, gee, for 3 or 4 months, I'm not going to even answer any questions from anyone. Are you kidding me?
And they play the card that she's a woman. It's everything boiled down to identity politics. And so if you don't like her, you hate women. I mean, it is just, it is mind-blowing. Jakari Jackson, because I want Larry to continue with his breakdown of this and his warnings.
Well, I just agree with what Larry was saying, talking about the censorship of the reporters. You recall myself and Joe Biggs went down to the border to talk to Nancy Pelosi, even though we had already talked to her media contact. We get down there, they don't let us into the event. You know, so they do things like this all the time. Same thing when I went to go see Obama. He came here to the LBJ Center, and I actually had my press pass and went through all the credentials and all this stuff. I'm like, okay, so I'm ready to go. And it's like, no, you can go stand in that room over there. I was like, I don't want to stand in the room Obama's not in. You know, that's how they do.
Yeah, what I was saying was 20 years ago, could you have believed this could happen? Oh, today, trust me, it's happening. It's happening. But you got one other problem. One of the key elements in our system was what we called the broken coalition. Now, there weren't enough blacks in Arkansas in that day to win an election. Today, nationally, what is 12%? In that day, being queer was bad. There weren't that many people that came out and said they were openly gay. Then you had the women's liberals. Then you had the hippies. Then you had the yippies. All of these segments, we figured out, you know what? Yeah, there's good old hardcore conservative Christian moral people in Arkansas, and there's more of them than any one of these groups. But what if we got all those little groups together? Then we become a power source that can't be touched. And we did. And it worked. And now they have what's called the broken coalition, which now you have to add in what? The illegal Mexicans. So everything in that plan is working exactly like clockwork. And the problem is the American people, Alex, all of you, the American people that still believe that you still believe that America is or was or whatever. Anybody still believes in America. Guys, you're going to have to suit up. You're going to have to suit up. You can say, hey, I'm not going to get involved. I'm not going to do whatever. Yeah, you are. You're either going to lose it by giving up, or you're going to stand, and you're going to stand tall, and you're going to tell the truth.
Well, that's the thing, is this isn't going to be boss hog tyranny like you were involved in, just good old boy stuff. They want to break the system forever, break our will, and domesticate us. This is a hardcore tyranny. And I mean, they just hate prosperity. They say we didn't build our businesses. They tell people in the third world they can't have air conditioning or cars while they're on jumbo jets. I mean, these are some nasty people. Jakari Jackson, you've been working here a couple years doing a great job. We're about to send you and whoever else you think you want to go with you up to South Carolina to cover all this tragic event. You talk about support. I didn't even plug anything last hour. We're going to plug right now and also plug Mr. Nichols, who's lost everything doing this. But that's why we need to get more reporters hired, too, so we have enough to always cover all these things as things heat up. But, Jakari, what is it like just to see it all for yourself? I mean, here it is. WTOC television, police say he was on Suboxone, a Schedule III narcotic, which is basically a antipsychotic / amnesic mind control drug. I mean, of course we knew that was coming. It's up on Infowars.com. It's just so sad because we really are being conquered at a fundamental spiritual or cellular level. I feel whipped. I feel empty. I feel enslaved. And what's sad is I know this is just the feeling of what's coming. You know, the echo from the future. Because we're heading towards this wall. I'm yelling. I can hear it's bouncing back like sonar. I can see what's there. I don't know what allegory. It makes me sick. And I've never felt sick talking about the New World Order, but to see it really coming into view, to see them really grabbing people's bank accounts now in Europe, getting ready for that collapse, to really see all this, Jakari, and I'm not saying I'm a whipped person. It's the feeling of knowing that they want the power. They want to whip us. They want to dominate us and break prosperity and break goodness because they're evil. Mm-hmm. I think it's that coming up against, brushing up against evil, and it won't leave, it won't back off, it won't shut up, it's dumbing everybody down. It's like being stuck in a room with somebody you hate. I think that's the best allegory, and we're going to get Mr. Nichols' take on it, but what's your take on that?
Well, you know, when you see all this stuff coming down, just like Larry was talking about 20 years ago, you know, I was a small child, but I'm trying to get in the mindset of somebody 20 years ago. Do they really, well, of course you knew, Alex, but, you know, what's the mindset of people back then? Could they imagine something like this? You know, if you said, you know,
No.
2015, we'll have all these things going on, the things with Russia, the things here domestically, and Larry, of course, says no, and it's very interesting to me how the whole thing is coming about and how many people are still blind to it, you know?
Well, exactly. They're just maneuvering right now. They're just 20 years ago, they were getting everything set up. You know, they got the derivatives in. They got the banking laws changed. It was all the Clintons and the globalists around them. And now he went to Bilderberg. And now Hillary's got her people at Bilderberg. Nobody else. And now they're getting ready to finish us off. Is that an accurate statement, Larry?
Jakari, let me say something, Jakari.
Sure.
20 years ago, the average credit card debt to a household when Bill Clinton took office was around $5,000. When he left office, the average family owed $60-something thousand in credit cards, and it was built based off of a false economy system. That's what they've been building, Alex. That's what you're talking about. Everything feels like it's about to blow. We've lived off a false economy with these people being led through the nose. And I'll tell you what it felt like 20 years ago. Alex remembers this guy, Larry Nichols, comes on this program telling what's coming, which seems so unimaginable. It sounded like a poor Class B horror flick. But it was true. It was true. And now, Alex, what you're feeling is you're actually seeing that which you've known about within in your heart of hearts because of being an American. You didn't think it could actually happen for sure. You thought, but you couldn't see it for sure. Now you're seeing it for sure, and it's like a freight train, guys, that we're standing out here on the tracks, and we're looking at each other and saying, Alex, Corey, me, you know, which one of us going to stand up in this track and stop that train? Because that's what it is. And guys, these people play rough. Alex is not kidding you. These people play rough, but nobody believes it. Well, ask Vince Foster. Gosh, anyway, 50-some-odd people that I knew that I had to testify that ended up dead. No, Bill and Hillary didn't kill them. But the system that wants them in power, the mob, they act on their own. They don't need Bill and Hillary. You know, it's just like this thing with these emails. Guys, do y'all really believe that an Obama heir to Clinton Justice Department is going to investigate Hillary? You've heard that Gowdy guy say, you know, hey, I can't, from this committee, I can't go issue a subpoena. No, he can't. It's all being played. Boehner, McConnell, they're playing this like a Stradivarius. And you know that because if you are a Tea Party, you got to ask yourself this. If you're a member of the Tea Party, you would be considered the base of the Republican Party, would you? You're exactly the kind of person that the party was built, the following up the moral majority.
Yes.
And yet the Republicans turn on them and commit $50 million to defeat them, not just at the presidential level, congressional level, but at the dog catcher level. They despise the Tea Party because they know the one thing that I know. The Tea Party, if it can be led, the Tea Party can take over the RNC, and if we took over the RNC, we could take back our country with a choice. But pretty soon, it's not going to be a choice. Once those Mexicans are made to be able to vote, folks, you will have seen the last national election in this country's history. Once that's done,
And that's the plan. There's also a blindness to these corporate mafias in that they all want their interest, but then they don't really think about, at least on the surface, how that connects down the road. I mean, all that money in the world and power is going to be worthless if we have nuclear war with the Russians. I mean, it's hardcore. I mean, you know.
And as you think of all these CEOs, why do you think these CEOs are raping these companies with these huge, ungodly salaries and bonuses? They know that can't exist. They're getting so much money. The powerful CEOs in this country know, Alex, that this thing's going down, and they're raising as much money for themselves as they can so they and their families will be safe. I got news for them. You're not gonna find an island in this world that you're gonna be able to buy and be safe.
Wow, let's come back and hear from Larry Nichols.
Subject to
4 or 5 years, but he's probably been on 20 plus times or more. Probably 30, 40 times, really. Because I was on air for most of the Clinton administration right from the start, a few years into it, and I witnessed it. And I remember seeing the Clinton Chronicles right away and putting it on Access TV myself and getting threats over it. Democratic Party basically called me up and said, we want to hire you to work for us. And it was like high-level people. And they said, you stop talking about Bill Clinton. And then when I kept doing it, they started threatening me. And I was like, well, go ahead and do something. And then a month later, they came and beat me up. I mean, I fought back, but I mean, people don't play games. And I mean, I don't want to sound dramatic here, but I mean, it was the Clintons. I mean, they were telling me shut up and stop talking about Waco. And they seemed surprised that I started fighting back. And that'll get you motivated when 4 guys are punching you. And I just can't believe we're in such bondage, and it's all sold by trendiness and the rest of it. I want to get into what this world's going to look like if they're able to take total control, as they're trying to do briefly. Larry's going to join us for like an hour and a half next Tuesday. Shakari Jackson's going to be on the news tonight covering more of this, 7 o'clock, with the rest of the crew. This whole race war they're trying to start. People, you notice I'm really calm right now. I've been frantically trying to stop this. Now that so much of it's going through, we're stopping some of it. I'm more just in grieving for myself and the country and all of us, because we're in deep crap. I mean, we're in the hands of some really bad people, and we've been sold out by the Republican leadership. And Larry, I remember you did this years ago, and I know you don't like to push people to support you, but I know you lost everything you had doing this, and I know your book's out of print when I asked you about that. How do folks support you, or if folks want to talk to you, get you to speak to their group, or come on their show? I know you give out your home number and your address for folks, so why don't you give that out for people?
Well, you bet. Look, my phone number is 440-897-0611. My address is 58 Kensington Drive, Conway, Arkansas, 72034. And Alex, I know people are going, how many people you ever had on the show that give out their home number, their home address? Guys, under this regime, you ain't going to hide. You're not going to hide. There's no sense in it. Either we get together, either we form up, or forever shut your mouth. Because this thing is coming down. And next week, Alex, I'd like to talk next week about the 450 troops going to Saudi Arabia, to the Anbar province. Yeah, believe it or not, folks, that's connected to this. That's 450 people going on what they call the lily pad type operation. I've been on many of them, and it's a death trap. Why? Why would you send 450 of our best into a death trap, especially when you just had the Secretary of Defense and the head of the Joint Chief of Staff yesterday in a committee, and Ordinero, the Marine General, they're all saying it won't work. Why?
All right. Well, Larry, we're going to talk to you next Tuesday. Be safe, sir. And I really appreciate you giving us the time today. And, of course, we're going to have you on a lot more as we enter the Clinton Nightmare 2.0. So thank you so much, sir.
You bet. Thank you all, Alex.
Thank you. Thank you.